Okay. Uh, Before we move towards the next panel discussion, I want to have a quick sense check from the room. How many of you here already have AI initiatives running in production and not just pilots and POCs? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God. Raise the hand, raise the hand. Sanjeev sir, you must see the entire crowd, so many of them. That's amazing. They're already deploying AI solutions. Okay, another one. And how many are still working through pilots and early stage deployment? Like still early stage. So I guess amazing. There is no point in asking that if anyone requires any kind of guidance or a still thinking stage कि करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए है ऐसा कोई who's still having some doubts whether to go for AI innovative solutions or not. This is amazing. This is the thing that these questions tell us what the audience here, what kind of audience we have here, and what you guys are doing. That's amazing. Whoever has raised the hands, like they are already deploying not just pilots but POCs, but they have completely deployed. We would really like to have to know your experiences later on. We can also do that. We'll move on to our first leaders talk for the day, which is on AI hype to enterprise value. Playbook for impact, right? So when I was asking you that how many of you have already deployed, this is what we want to know, that AI is no longer a hype, right? We are already using it on daily basis, and not just Gen AI. सिर्फ chat GPT पे inquiries डालना काम नहीं करता है. We are genuinely using it. So now we move forward for our leaders talk on AI hype for enterprise value, playbook for impact. The session brings together seasoned enterprise leaders who are transforming AI from pilots and POCs into measurable business outcomes. The session will be led by Mr. Sanjeev Malhotra, and I would like to invite our first panelist, Mr. Chandan Vijay, who is the Global Chief Data Officer at ABB Energy Industries. With over 20 years of experience, he has led large-scale digital transformation initiatives, translating AI and enterprise data capabilities into measurable business impact and operational value. Sir, I would like to have you on stage, please. Next, we have Mr. Pradeep Pasupuleti. Yes, please. Come on, we just had tea and coffee. These are industry leaders who is going to tell you how to convert your AI into measurable business impacts. So I want clap at every speaker. Director, Mr. Pradeep is the Director at Machine Learning and Big Data at Hitachi Digital Services. Joining them is Mr. Vardhan, who is the Senior Vice President and CIO at Optum Health. I cannot hear the last benchers clapping. Thank you, sir. Also with us, Mr. Sunil Manohar Salkapuram, who is the AI Innovation and Blockchain Lead at Carelon Global Solutions. And last but not the least, Mr. Karthik Birudavolu, the Head of Engineering Data COE at Lloyds Technology Center. And of course, as I said, this entire leaders' talk will be moderated by our leader, Mr. Sanjeev, sir. Over to you, sir.
All right. It was very interesting that Priyanshi, when we asked people to raise hands on how many AI projects are going on, how many pilots are going on, so many people here are involved in it, right? So AI is arrived, right? It's no longer a talk. And now it is, I think, a matter of to what degree and what capacity we are using it, what impact we are trying to bring out of it. And we are really fortunate to have so many distinguished people here on the stage representing different industries. So we hear the diverse opinions about the things that is happening in the industry across the world. They all represent global organizations. uh, representing healthcare, engineering, and so on, but the different wide variety of domains. So without wasting any more time, I would like each one of them to share 2-minute high-level overview of the kind of things that they see happening in their organization and some of the challenges also. I think let's talk about the good things that are happening and some of the challenges that we are facing. That becomes a topic of our discussion where we all can contribute to it. Since such a learned audience here, think of your thoughts also that you would like to share with them and questions that we want to have, the discussions we want to have. So start thinking now. Towards the end, we spend 5-10 minutes on it. So shall we start with you in that order?
Thank you. Good morning, Hyderabad. Thank you. I'm coming from Gurgaon, so that you know, representing Optum. Optum is part of United Health Group, one of the largest health insurance company of US. 50% of our technology team sits in India. And within India, 50% of our technology workforce operate from Hyderabad. I always look forward to visit the team over here, and thank you, Nasscom, for inviting us over here. Always Hyderabad brings warm weather, coming from Gurgaon this week, right? Good food and the good audience. So coming to this discussion, so as you just asked, I'll just put in 2 ways. Representing healthcare industry, I mean, few data points and few of my perspective. Healthcare has always been seen as a kind of laggards or catching up in terms of adopting advanced technologies. But that's not the case anymore with AI coming into it. The latest Mellon report that has come for 2025 that says AI adoption is, in any industry, average adoption is 9% as of now. Healthcare adoption is 22%. And that's a US data. So you can extrapolate, and I'm sure India data could be different. So certainly, healthcare has its own kind of advantage using the AI. From opportunity per se, if I see, here is how it happens. Like we were talking about, yes, AI has arrived, but AI has been here for decades, right? What has happened, a shift that happened in November 2022 when ChatGPT got launched, right? And that's the entire kind of paradigm shift has happened, similar to, you can say, I'm just drawing a corollary, but like yoga has always been here. What Baba Ramdev has done to the yoga is democratizing it for everyone, right? What Nasscom has been doing for IT and ITES industry in India, right? Making it accessible, having event like this. So in healthcare, how kind of it is making a kind of shift is, as you understand, like any other industry, you wish to go for a family dinner tonight, you go and book an app, right? It's a different experience versus somebody is not well in your family and you are booking a doctor's appointment. That is the kind of experience in an hour of need that we expect healthcare to really serve to our members. And that is where AI is changing the game. If you look from a healthcare aim perspective, we are talking about how can we reduce cost, how can we higher kind of healthcare outcome with the member or the patient experience to the provider experience. And what AI is helping is nothing but connecting the dot across these 4 levers of it. So big opportunity to connect the dot in the healthcare ecosystem, which is not as simple as any other transactional system in a way. And the opportunity lies for me, my perspective here is, how can we really move away from the use cases to a systemic or the entire kind of process and the business transformation? Because I think as you can relate, use case adoptions are like vanity metric. It looks good. You can say how many lines of code has been written by the AI tool, looks really good. But those are vanity metric. It may give you a kind of push in the short term, but on the long term, what is the business outcome, as you were just mentioning, is what that matters. So I still see an opportunity is moving up in the value chain from the use case implementation, tools implementation to the business outcomes.
Thank you. I'll just take a moment here to he represents United Health, Optum, as he talked about. How many of you know what rank is it in the Fortune list? That's the thing I learned when I met your country manager first time in Gurgaon. Okay. So I still remember that. In the Fortune list, what is their rank? It's number 5, right? And he said half of their technical workforce is in India, and out of that, half is in Hyderabad, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So basically, the Fortune 500 company technology group, 1/4 of the technology group is sitting in Hyderabad. Wonderful. Anyway, so this was a small trivia I wanted to do. At the same time, I wanted to take an opportunity to welcome Shri Jayesh Ranjanji, who has joined us, out of his busy schedule. I think he does not need any introduction. I think, at least in the technology circle, he doesn't need any introduction. I have seen him architecting the growth of Hyderabad for last decade. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We'll just take about 20 minutes more to finish this panel. Over to you.
A very good morning. Hope I'm audible. Yep. So I'm part of Lloyds Banking Group, Lloyds Technology Center in Hyderabad. So while Mr. Sanjeev and Ashish were talking about data and AI and the relevance, I think, and again, back to Mr. Sanjeev's point, AI is not a myth, it's not a talk anymore. At least for 2 fields, which are very, very regulated. And I was talking to one of our partners yesterday. One is health, and the other one is wealth. I think these 2 industries are highly regulated and very strong governance and restrictions from regulatory world and compliance, etc. Right? And AI has been there for quite some time with other industries, like pick up Amazons of the world, Netflix, etc., etc. They've been doing this for decades. Now, what changed the mindset of people in these 2 sectors? I think that's the focus that we got to have. So it started with traditional AI, and then they said, okay, it's all siloed up. Now, why don't we come into agentic, where we have integrated approaches for journeys for customers, etc. At least in the regulatory or finance industry, right? So one thing that I did observe is it was a hype, it was a myth, and then it came to reality to an extent. People have implemented that in these industries, and now what they're realizing is how explainable is my AI. So they're getting into the deep root of how this AI, how this system works, how this interaction happens. And when we look at all of that explainability, I think that is where the focus for the next few years is going to be. Like, what I'm doing on AI, is this relevant? Or, does this impact my customers? Because end of the day, I think the ROI that I see with AI is 2-pronged. One is your colleague or your productivity, which could be your engineers, which could be your customer operations, etc. The other one is your customers. Like, how are your customers benefiting from what you're giving them for making impactful decisions in their lives, in their careers, right? And I remember very well when I joined Lloyds a year and a half back, we had our business unit CEO who did his town hall, and I had a question for him, like, how do you see AI and the relevance of data within the organization and within your vision of customer engagement? So he said, Karthik, right now the data is sitting siloed somewhere in my backyard, but I want to take it to the front door of the customer so that the customer can make some decisions that impact their lives in terms of, and especially pensions, because in UK, pensions is a very heavy area where a lot of the customers are still not educated, or they do not have open doors yet to understand how that works. So I said, okay, and then we had one town hall on December 25, and then I said, how do you see it now? You told this 2 years back. Do you see the same? He said, we are getting there. We are not there really, but we are getting there. And looking at what we have been doing in Lloyds Technology Center, I think we are at that journey right now and very close to what the dreams of some of our senior leadership is. But then we have a very long roadmap. So we have a 2030 vision, like Ashish had mentioned, where we are looking to even accelerate our AI journey. But again, without data, your AI is as much waste as anything else, right? So the relevance of data is very key, and we are focusing to build the foundation of data very strong, so that the AI vehicle on that can easily speed up the journey. I think that's where we are at. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjeev. Thank you for inviting. Hi. So I think we started this conversation with one line from Ashish, and he kind of elaborated on that, I think Sanjeev from that. Data is the new oil. I think 3 years back, I was in a conference and I kind of laid out this statement, data is not an oil, because oil is going to end one day. Data is, I believe, is a nuclear reactor material it's as how we say digital is forever, data stays forever. And data can be harnessed in multiple ways to get value out of it, to get insights out of it. And I think that is the paradigm shift for AI. If I look at the playbook that we have been looking across ABB, at least we're again a very industrial organization. We operate in automation, electrification areas. Automation specifically focusing on energy industry segment. It's again a very regulated segment. So how do you look at implementing AI in environments which are regulated? I think the very fundamental part is, first is articulating a problem. I think everybody can say very clearly AI is no longer a problem in their organization. It's the value articulation of that AI problem that we're trying to solve. Most of the time, when we look at our playbook, if I look at my last month's budgeting process, we asked people for ideas and we got almost 3 times the ideas of the total budget that we had. So we have 3x the ideas of what we can actually implement in terms of dollar values. So AI is not a problem. The value creation is a problem. Second is, how do I look at that value and then create a context out of that from the data that we have available? When we create the context with the right data, the third piece comes out is, for us, is how do we productize it? Can I monetize it? And I think that's how we look at AI as an implementer or AI as a solution for our business. How do we drive focus with that? Now, coming back to, I think, what you mentioned, right? Again, very regulated environments. Data becomes the foundational layer for any AI systems. Governance becomes the most important aspect. I think we talk about AI implementations, we talk about AI projects. What really makes impactful for us is, how do we implement governance from the day one? Because any solution that goes out of the door has to have the right checks and balances, without which you're going to burn holes through your project. You will have either hallucination happening, you will have outcomes that are coming out which are not desired. And especially in regulated fields, you cannot have the probabilistic answers coming from AI solutions. They have to be more deterministic with more citations as to where it is coming from. So I think when I look at AI as a playbook, very fundamental problem articulation in terms of value, productization with respect to the data context, and then the last piece is, how do we scale it? Whether it's for customer, whether it's for internal. That's how I look at it.
Thank you. Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Pradeep and I come from Hitachi Digital Services. And I call myself a machine learning chief data scientist. I stopped being an AI guy because of the problem Chandan was just articulating. AI being more non-deterministic and we can't have a very good precision value attached to it. And the reason being why that happens and why it is more impactful for most of the industries is, most of the industries in regulations, as Karthik was speaking, as Ashish and Chandan was saying, they need some kind of explainability and they need some kind of clear precision value attached to any kind of machine learning model which can predict. So given that kind of a scenario, what Hitachi is trying to bring to the table is a framework as well as platforms which actually can enable organizations like Lloyds, United Health Group and the banks and other regulated industries like ABB and other energy companies. They can, Hitachi is enabling to build a product and a platform to ensure responsible AI and governance of all the AI models and machine learning models so that bias can be filtered out, as Ashish was talking about it, and then we can filter out some hallucinations, we can ground the reality of the AI's predictions, and then we can prevent some prompt injections and ensure that the AI is secure from malicious attacks from outside. So this is one part of the whole angle where Hitachi is acting like an enabler to bring in the element of trust in whatever we do with AI and machine learning. That is the first part. The second part, what we are trying to do as a success story for ourselves is we are building an agent platform which can monitor all the life cycle of the entire agents which are deployed in production. We have a lot of agents which actually predict remaining useful life of a power company. We have power generation companies, and we are working with rail in the United Kingdom and United States. And we are trying to predict door degradation, elevator problems, and stuff like that. But we need some kind of accountability and predictability and precision associated with that. And that's where the discipline of machine learning acts more rather than only pure AI kind of, generative AI kind of hallucinated answers. So we are converging onto that area where the precision is more important, and along with that, we are also trying to govern how the credentials of each of the agents actually are monitored. So what is really happening is there is a proliferation of not a lot of APIs around that. And each API has a key associated. And if you get misuse of API keys and all, there is a disaster which is pending to happen in organization and enterprise. So we take an enterprise-centric look of how the organizations are using APIs, LLMs, agents and machine learning models, and we are trying to bring in a kind of governance over top of all these kind of assets so that these things happen in harmony and ensure that responsible AI is the primary takeaway from all these things. And we have seen a lot of problems in the enterprises where data, as many of the leaders are saying, data exists in silos. So one of the key problems which we identified was there is a need for us to really clean the data before giving it to the AI so that hallucination can happen. So these are the problems and the solutions which we offer from Hitachi. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Sunil. A quick representation of how much we healthcare folks love health insights is smart rings. I see a couple of them on the panel here. So it's all down to how you utilize the data that we have. There's tons of data available. It's all not doing just POCs. Can you scale up the POCs to be production ready? And will it be ROI intensive, and will it solve our problems that we have in the healthcare industry? We have a couple of solutions that stand out most, which is document intelligence and voice summarizations. So when it comes to these two solutions, it's how fast can you help a claim, let's say, get processed, which is in turn, again, helping our end customers. And when it comes to voice summarizations, it's going to provide you insights into how a customer's call is going to happen, as well as also provide some quick insights for the agents to help the customer faster, better, and overall ensure there is a healthier experience end-to-end. And when it comes to moving from a POC stage to a production-ready solution, it's all about having a robust governance mechanism in place. POCs are easy to do, but when it comes to the end production readiness, it's also down to cost effectiveness to make sure the solution is going to be robust and comply to all the responsible AI principles as well. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So we have chance to hear from some of the largest healthcare companies, the largest bank in UK, largest automation company, and one of the largest engineering companies in Japan. And you represent the healthcare, right? The provider side business. So prepare your questions. Before we get into the next round, I just want to do another trivia thing with everyone. Where do you encounter AI in your daily lives? Which is a place where you see AI is sort of made your life easier or impacted our life? Where do you experience it? Digiyatra? Does that ring a bell?
Awesome, absolutely.
Yeah? Has it made our life easier? Definitely. Digilockers, well, but Digiyatra, you know, the wait we used to do, 15-minute wait at the airport is gone. Any other examples? So sometime you're doing customer service, you will not know that you're talking to an AI agent. So a lot of times, a lot of calls are being answered by AI, and sometimes we don't even know about it. Some of the fake ones we know, the soliciting ones we know that are AI, but when you talk to a customer agent, some of them are answered. You're taking an appointment booking somewhere, it is answered by AI. Anyway, we'll come back to this once again. So prepare your questions when you have leaders on different industries, you know, represented here. Let's not waste that opportunity. One quick round starting from that side. let's pick out one or two interesting things that AI has done in your organization, and what are the challenges? What is coming in the way of a wider adoption of it? Because ultimately we want to address those challenges as part of our industry into wider adoption of this. So what are the fears, or not just fears, but the real challenges also?
Yeah, the most important challenge that we do normally face is expectations, because it's all boils down to someone brings a quick POC done, let's say using agentic AI, and they say it's going to solve our problem. But when we look at it at broader perspective, we from our Innovation Council, we look at it and say, from a long-term perspective, is it going to solve the entire problem, or is it going to incur more cost than what it's going to solve? So that's tempering the expectations is a key perspective that we need to have when addressing a simple problem with a broader solution. Like you don't take an excavator to dig out a sapling. So you just need to figure out the solution, what we're trying to implement, does it even need to be implemented for that particular problem?
Yeah, from my perspective, the biggest problems happens to be very fundamental and very simple actually, because we fail to understand how much of bias is hidden in the models we have already trained and we have exposed to the internet. So by building this platform, which I just mentioned about the responsible AI thing, right? We happen to understand LLMs like none other, because we happen to create a lot of test cases and test data to fact check the LLMs, to understand how LLMs are biased and how wrong the LLMs answers are. So we did a lot of performance benchmarking as well as fine tuning of the model's responses to understand and to flag bad responses. Why we need to do this is because many of the regulated industries like banking and healthcare do not tolerate nonsensical answers coming from LLMs, right? So we are acting like a guardrail or a, firewall in between an LLM and an application using an LLM or a machine learning model, so that the organization which is actually using that can be prevented from the risk of regulators fining them or any kind of misuse from the internal users also by exposing personally identifiable information in the case of Optum or any kind of healthcare providers. You cannot expose IP data, intellectual property data, or personal identifiable information and things like that. So we are building that kind of a guardrail kind of models using different kind of mechanisms. And in order to build that, we have explored a lot of different benchmarking data sets and all. That enabled us to understand how LLM really works as versus how it is advertised. So a lot of advertisements come about saying my model has bet this benchmark and things like that. But on the ground, the reality is totally different. And that actually captures one of the hype versus reality kind of a spectrum problem across the world, because the reality is embedded in the biasness, in the gender bias equations, and in a lot of probabilistic model which is hallucinating and all. That is not really captured by the enterprises. But when we bring the enterprises down to the reality and show that, hey, this is what your performance metrics says, and this is your F1 value and things like that, then enterprise really understand. So solution and problem has been articulated in terms of what the LLM is promising to do versus what is actually in the ground, and how Hitachi is trying to prevent the risk from happening by building the guardrail model. So these are all the things which we are trying to do. Thank you.
So I will go into the problem first. I think one of the problems that we have with our customer solutions is, I'm talking about ABB Ability Genix solution. It's more of a customer-focused solution, which is an integrated platform, data, analytics, AI, prescriptive, and predictive both. And it's a fantastic APM solution that we provide to our customers. I think the problem that we are facing is, with the increasing use of the platform, we are seeing more requirements coming from customer. Having given almost a platform which is giving 35% savings in operations and maintenance costs to energy producers and energy industries, the requirement from customers are getting more. They're understanding how AI is able to utilize efficiencies of the data that they couldn't harness earlier. So now the expectation is even more that how do you go from beyond 35% to even more. So if you look at a multi-million-dollar industry, we have proven statistics from our customers where a couple of customers have reported savings up to almost 35 to 40% of their operations and maintenance cost. in a multi-million-dollar energy industry segment, that number translates to a significant dollar amount in terms of bottom line as well as top line. So we have a very interesting problem, not a challenge with respect to how AI is hallucinating or what challenges AI is posing, but what more our customers are asking and how do we provide it to them. So it's a very interesting challenge that we have to face.
So the problem statement from me is, it's hard to convince my stakeholders that everything need not be AI and agentic AI, right? So they come to me asking, Karthik, should this be a Gen AI use case or an agentic AI use case? I'm like, there is something called automation, so everything doesn't need to come through this channel. So we should really look for the ROI and the best bang for the buck that we're trying to invest in. The other part of the AI that is risk is, again, being in the regulated industry is, this goes in front of the customers. So we need to ensure that there is no biased decisions that are being made or are compelling the customer to make any biased decisions. So for that, we need to have ethical AI embedded, sentimental AI embedded, and I talked about AI explainability. I think these are some of the things that touches upon on how we should manage the risk of opening this to the customers. And when I was talking earlier, I talked about colleague productivity, and this is where I felt that AI is the best at the relevance, less risk, and more technology adoption and efficiency within technology industries. And a classic example that we've done is our engineers take significant time for developing these high value, high quality data products and all of this capabilities that we try to build and for the organization. One thing where I felt very relevant is I've challenged our engineering team saying that why don't you put AI here, test it out, and then make sure that what is getting produced as an outcome is true value driven. And then we will start looking at how to scale this up to a broader community of users, right? So I think that is one of the things that I always realize that do it, test it, ensure that what you've done is right, score it, and then when you're confident, then probably the next level is to see how you can get this in front of your customers.
See, the problem with industries like banks and healthcare is a small mistake can be pretty expensive. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, I think the most exciting thing that we are doing we are solving the AI is, as you know, in healthcare, the sacred thing is all about patient and the clinician or the doctor interactions. And how we can take the administrative burden out of the clinicians or the doctors so that they can use the time more on the area that they are expert at. So with the OpenAI, Microsoft and other coming with DAX Copilot, we are partnering with them. As an example I give you, field clinicians who are visiting home, they typically do a 45 minutes interaction with a member, as an example. AI coming 5 to 7 minutes is getting saved by getting away from the interactions that AI is taking care, and we are not looking at multiplying that to have more patients. We are looking at as a more quality conversations happening there. At Optum, we do 3 million visits. Last year, we did 3.1 or so. And you can imagine 3 multiplied by 7 minutes is the time that clinicians are getting to apply that value chain. And I tell you, the opportunity that we have is not about AI having production ready, but is all about how's the adoption happening on the clinician end, at the end user end. As an example, when we started, our clinician used to get a 1-hour training time in a month. Let's say when AI and the technology has really, velocity is going high, we are doing a deployment every 2 weeks. Let's say 10 featured every week, so 20 feature is being deployed in a month. But the training capacity for our end user is only maybe 2 features in a month, in 1 hour, how much you can push to them. So again, through AI, how can you really reimagine the training and the adoption part of it so that the true value is being realized by the end user at the end? And that is where hype to scaling will happen. Otherwise, as a technology team, will feel great about using the new tool, new use cases. It is production ready as well, but the business is not seeing the value that their investment is not seeing the kind of margin they are expecting, and that can happen only through the playbook that we can put to really determine the business impact end to end.
Wonderful. So that was a great example where it's actually showing impact on the field. We run out of time, so we'll not do the questions now, but I'd like to again close with one trivia. I mean, though it's not an AI conference, but AI still dominates the conversations because it is so heavy on our minds and in our lives and in our work lives, I mean. Chat GPT versus Gemini versus Anthropic. How many for Chat GPT? All right. How many for Gemini? And how many for Anthropic? Which is the winner? Who's the winner? Gemini. All right. I just wanted to get a feel. I mean, I read about it, but I just wanted to get a real feel from the real people.
They were not the first to come. Like even out of these three, they came later, Gemini, and they are like.
Yeah, right. That's what we hear in the thing, and that's what is survey showing. So thank you very much. I think wonderful conversation. We have more to talk about, but then we also want to hear Jayesh Ranjanji. I think we all are eager to hear him as well. So with that, thanks everyone, the distinguished panelists from different industries.
The mic is not. Yeah. So, Sanjeev sir, please do the honors of felicitating. We can start right beside you. We would like to take a quick group photo. Thank you. Thank you so much, all the leaders. Please.